Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Uncomfortably Candid podcast. I have not been recording my weekly podcast because I have just completed my PhD and I'm finally back to where I have the headspace to even think about topics for podcasts and think about having the time to sit down and do this. But I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be done with school. Um, and this is just going to be a quick episode, just kind of talking about what's been going on the past few months and what we're going to be talking about in the future a little bit. Um, but like I said, I'm just so glad to be done with school. This is a promise from the Lord that has been fulfilled. I went to ministry school in California for a few years, and on the way back, driving back from California to Georgia. Um, well, let me go back. Before I went to ministry school and applied for ministry school out in California, um, right before my MCAT scores were going to expire. And so I went through the whole process of applying to med school, and that process in and of itself is daunting. Complete that process. Like I accomplished, that was an accomplishment. But I didn't get into any med schools, and I went to ministry school instead. But on the way back from ministry school, driving from California to Georgia, he told me, "I want you to be a different type of doctor." And so this whole, me getting my master's degree in psychology and then getting my PhD in psychological and counseling studies is a promise fulfilled. So I'm very excited, mostly because it's done. Um, but that's what I've been doing for the past 4-ish months is head and computer writing almost a 100-page paper. Um, So not much has been going on except for that. But this next month, I'm excited um, because we are going to be talking about autopilot. What is autopilot? You know, what do we do to get out of autopilot? Um, but before I go, this, like I said, this is just going to be a short podcast. I want to talk to you about um, when we encounter things that we've already feel like we've dealt with before in life. Um, and when I was writing my dissertation, I was dealing with a lot of perfectionism. Like, I almost didn't graduate because I was editing my paper so much that my supervisor had to be like, Kaylee, um, you might not graduate if you don't get this in. So that really got me out of that perfectionist mode to where I was just like, okay. And this is what they tell you from the beginning, but a done dissertation is a good dissertation. So I kept trying to figure out, like, okay, Lord, I thought I feel like I've dealt with this perfectionism thing. Like, why am I still dealing with this? Why am I still struggling with this perfectionism? And he reminded me of this message that this pastor used to preach at my ministry school. And he always used to say, imagine life like you're on a spiral staircase. You are always going to come back to the same spot, but you're going to be at a higher vantage point. And so you're going to be able to look at it from a different perspective. But that also can mean, like, this is, this is, it can, it can be like you're looking at something new. And this whole dissertation process was new for me. I'd never done a dissertation before. I've never been a published writer before. Like I knew this was going out into the world for all to see. And so there's so much grace for, struggling with things that you thought you had nipped in the bud, when things are new or, when you're in a different season. Um, but just to encourage you that you are not the same person. You're seeing it from a different vantage point, or this is just something new in your life that you are experiencing, and some old, you know, coping mechanisms are kicking in. Um, but that doesn't mean you're the same person that you were when you initially started to work on this. Because there's so much grace for new seasons, new experiences. So that's kind of really, what I got out of writing my dissertation and that I wanted to share with you. And if anybody is like, dang it, I thought this was behind me. Like, I thought this perfectionism, I thought this fear, I thought this anxiety, whatever was behind me. Um, it's just a different season. And, you are looking at it as a completely different person. You're not the same person. So just remember that. And if you have worked on, if you have worked on overcoming it, then you have strategy, skills, tools, healthy coping mechanisms that you can use to overcome it. Just be patient with yourself, have grace, and take the time to utilize those skills and tools that you have learned. So I think that's it. It's just going to be a short one, but I'm so glad to be back. I'm excited for what's coming, and I will see y'all next time.